Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Three Good Guys podcast. Before we hop into everything, let's start with the introductions. My name is Miles. To my right,
Rodney.
And to the far right,
LB.
And we're going to hop into some good times today. Let the good times roll. This is for your morning drive. Mm-hmm. This is for your morning stroll. Yeah. This is for those tedious tasks that you do at work that are mindless, and you're like, I just want to think about anything other than what's in front of me. Mm-hmm. This is what that's for right here, all right? Yeah, so 100%. If y'all ready to get rocking and rolling, I'm going to throw it to my right because I don't even know what we're talking about today. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to jump into it.
A couple things. We'll kind of get into it a little bit more in detail, but I want your guys' opinion on one thing. How do you feel about masculinity and representation in the media now? Because I feel like it's definitely been a giant decline, and I mean, not even a feeling. That's what I see. Mm-hmm. So what do y'all feel about that? How do you think about it?
Yeah, I didn't notice it until you brought it up when you asked us about I don't remember how you said it, but shows in the last 15 years that had a male that was married with children and respected by his community, and I can't think of like any shows.
Yeah, male, in shape, not unhealthy, basically. Respected by his community, not a clown or a dunce, like actually a smart person, and married with kids or without.
And I'm not going to lie, that part where you're actually smart, that's the hardest part.
Yeah. Because they may be married and have the kids and everything, but they're like the dumbest guy on the show. Like,
he's
a doofus. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, back in the day, we used to have dads on TV that you could look up to.
Exactly.
I think of My Wife and Kids. That's like one of my favorite shows. Like he was a successful man, had his own company. That was prevalent, but now you are not seeing that as much.
Yeah, I mean the Cosby Show, another huge one.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. Fresh Prince.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Uncle Phil was a man's man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Stand-up guy.
Yeah.
He was big.
Not in the best shape. But he took in his wife's nephew.
Absolutely.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That wasn't his nephew. That was his wife.
But I mean, he checked every other box exponentially.
Yeah.
Smart. Probably the smartest guy on the show.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely respected.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah.
Made all kinds of money, according to the show. As a lawyer, then judge eventually. That is hilarious.
I just looked over there. Sorry. If y'all didn't hear that, my daughter in the back, I guess she was watching TV. She had to say something.
Speaking of men being, respecting and whatnot, this man just said, my daughter in the back. I'm not going to lie. It's still kind of crazy to me. Like, you have a daughter and a son. Yeah. That's crazy. Somebody should make a
TV show about you.
Yeah, make a TV show about you. A man supporting his wife and children.
Yeah. My Wife and Kids.
Yeah. Again. Part 2. That's crazy.
But yeah, I completely agree with you guys. Like, I mean, well, that's what I've been seeing. And it's kind of tough to like really quantify like any show in the recent years. I made the joke earlier, like only person I can think of off the top of my head was Ned Stark from Game of Thrones, but then
they killed him.
They killed him off immediately. So
and I knew he was going to be start the show. You watch episode 1, you're like, oh, this Ned dude. Right,
I know.
Yeah,
he about to raise these boys. They about to get into some things, and they got him up out of there quick.
And they let the worst kind of people linger on that show. When you think about it, like Ned is probably still the best person.
Yeah, the most upstanding person probably on the show. I can't really think of anyone else. I mean, a close second's probably like Jon Snow or Jon Snow probably be, but
yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go off topic here. I got a question for y'all. What is toxic masculinity?
When a man does things he should not do, that's it. Like that's it. People.
I feel you. Like I get what you're saying. Go ahead.
Yeah, because people try to make it seem like toxic masculinity is a trait. It is not a trait.
Ooh,
like the same trait that you're like, no, you're too aggressive. You need that same aggressive trait in a man at times. Mm-hmm. You're too stern. It's too much. You need that same sternness at times. It's not a trait. It's the inability for a man to regulate certain emotions at certain times.
Exactly.
That is toxic masculinity.
Miles has some good answers sometimes. Like I give him his props. Yeah, because that's what you hear all the time now, toxic masculinity, and a lot of times when I see it, it's just masculinity.
Absolutely.
But I like the way you said it. Yeah, it's when you're doing it at the wrong time, or basically when you're doing what you're not supposed to.
Yeah, doing what you're not. But the thing that gets me is the phrase toxic masculinity. One, I feel is completely overused, like
100%,
grotesquely overused. I don't like that. But two, oftentimes it's not even toxic masculinity. Like the toxicity has nothing to do with someone being masculine at all.
It's just a toxic person.
Yeah, it's just a toxic person.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And in this case, we're talking about a man.
Yeah.
But it's what's toxic femininity? When a woman is doing the same exact thing this guy was doing.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like people be toxic. People have certain traits.
Yeah.
And certain things just don't work for people. But when that's the case, it's not all of a sudden toxic femininity because this woman was too soft in a moment where she should have been more stern. No, she's a soft lady. She does need to learn to be more stern at times, but her softness is not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
She's got to learn when to tap into certain things. Yeah. She's not toxic. She just handled that situation wrong.
I think that phrase, the way it's being used, is going to make young men try to not be masculine.
Oh, it's not going to. It is actively making young men do their best to not be the toxic man.
Yeah.
Because that is a problem. You get that toxic, it's like having certain labels bestowed upon you carries. Mm-hmm. And it's an issue. And it follows you throughout whatever it is you're doing in life. So you do all that you can to avoid those labels. Mm-hmm. And now some of what is happening is because men don't want to be toxic. They don't want to be too aggressive. They are not doing things that men have traditionally done.
So we need to bring back masculinity.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. We need to bring back bullying.
You gotta follow up with that. You can't just throw that out there.
Yeah. Let me explain it. That's why we gotta bring back bullying. All right. And I don't mean bullying in the sense of you take a kid and you dunk his head in the toilet. I'm not talking about destroying somebody's confidence or something like that. But we have to bring back the fact like you can play around with people and make jokes. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people go too far, but we have to be like, all right, you went too far and that's the limit, and come to that understanding. Not say you can't make jokes anymore. That's a problem.
So those safe places are not conducive to young men.
Yeah, we went above and beyond what was necessary. Mm-hmm. Only thing that was necessary is some kids need more discipline because they're doing too much.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Like, go ahead.
No, I feel you. And I think what happens is when we fall in line with, we're too busy creating safe spaces, we get away from the facts over the feelings instance. Like, for instance, like, we're trying to protect everybody's feelings so much that we're not providing them with the truth. Mm-hmm. And that's where it becomes damaging. For instance, if somebody is grotesquely overweight and having difficulties even breathing, talking, everything like that, and we're telling them, like, man, look, you gotta get in shape. Like, we're talking to them, like, hey, man, this is getting rough for you. I saw you breathing, huffing and puffing, getting out the car today. Like, come on. And then people will say, oh, that's disrespectful. You shouldn't do that. And I'm just like, well, yeah, that might make this person feel a little bit bad. But at the same time, it's like, what's more important? Like, giving this person the truth and letting those feelings give him an understanding of like, okay, I need to change something, or just
telling him that he's beautiful the way that he is. Yeah, you don't need to change.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because you do need to change, or you won't be anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's just crazy to me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're white, man.
But just to go back to like toxic masculinity, and I know I've talked about this before, but like growing up, I always heard that like guys were bad when in far as dating. So I chose I was like, I'm going to be the good guy just because that's what I've always heard. Mm-hmm. So I decided to do the opposite. And then when I was younger, I was in a relationship that really wasn't beneficial to me. I was like, oh, I'm going to stay because guys always leave. Like that's what you're always taught. So I think that this phrase toxic masculinity all the time. And now I think younger people are going to hear it and they're going to like how I internalize it and decide to be the opposite of what I was hearing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, well, I'm gonna stray away from anything masculine.
Yeah. And that causes you, in that sense, to not have a standard for yourself or a certain line that you uphold others around you to, because you want to be so flexible and bendable for everybody and be this super nice guy, but then like you lose any type of standard that you can raise towards people now because you're kind of losing yourself in the whole facade of what you're trying to be to everybody, rather than like, hey, I'm not going to accept this. This is unacceptable to me. And I think that is a masculine thing to put forth. And I think that's something that people need. Like, I'm not going to be accepting to everything. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. Like,
this is something I've observed. I got no statistics, no numbers. This is just Leonard Brown 101. Mm-hmm. But as men become less masculine, women have become more masculine. Mm-hmm. And now you have this thing where you'll see them say, well, I'm in my feminine or in my masculine. And they're talking about, like, you know, for the right guy, I'll be feminine or whatever. And it's just like, I don't think we're supposed to be like that.
You know what's funny? So in business, there's a phrase that I heard. Well, I've heard it before, but you hear it in business a lot. The way you do anything is the way you do everything, right? Mm-hmm. And people will say that until something like this comes up. Because if you're being masculine now, that's not just because of who you're currently around. That's just how you're doing things. Mm-hmm. That's just the way you're operating. So if you want to be feminine for a certain kind of man, you're going to have to learn how to be feminine, period. And if you're a man who's being too feminine and you need to be masculine for a certain kind of person, then you need to learn how to be more masculine, period. Because the way you do anything is the way you do everything. Mm-hmm. That don't just apply to the discipline that you have in your business. That applies to how you speak to people. If you speak to people rudely, then you're going to speak to people rude everywhere. Yeah, and it's always going to pop up.
And then another thing, though, is I think we really got to just start defining what masculinity is, because it's starting to take on, like, well, if it's a negative trait, it's masculine. Because, like you just said, if you do something rudely, you know what I mean? And, like, I know you're not saying that that's masculine, but that's kind of how people, or, like, how ladies would do it. Like, oh, I'm aggressive, so I'm masculine. Like, nah, confident maybe, but just because you're aggressive don't make you masculine. You get what I mean? Yeah, so we got to just really define it for the next generation, or else we're just going to be out of luck and messed up in the head.
Mm-hmm. And defining it, that's going to be a long conversation. But you know what? I think it's interesting how, like, the media gets a hold of something and their propaganda makes it what it is on such a large scale that it doesn't really matter what you think about a certain thing anymore. Like, it is what the media said it is.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened with, you know, toxic masculinity. Somehow it got into the media and it just went out, and now it's its own living, breathing thing. And it doesn't matter what you actually think it is or how you actually feel about a thing as you think it through, because that's not what they said it is.
Yeah, that's why it's important to have, just as much as you have nowadays, all of these non-masculine men representations on TV, or if there is a masculine man on television, he's typically the villain or somebody who isn't, you know, good. And so it's kind of like the radio. Like, back in the day, the radio ruled everything when it came to music. If you play something on the radio enough, you know, people get into their head, they're going to start liking it. And, you know, they're basically making hits. It's not necessarily that it probably organically would be a hit in any sense. But if you hear something enough, you know, it's going to stick in your head.
Absolutely.
And so they're reinforcing all these effeminate men or masculine men who are villains all the time on television or reputation, and that's what's constantly being seen. And so people are attaching these buzzwords to any type of red flag or instance that a man has in real life, and slapping that label on there. Like, oh, he's just a toxic masculine man. And I'm just like, oh no, you probably had a moment, but like,
I just thought about a show where a man is, you know, respected and smart and whatnot and married, but I just realized when he got married on the show, they ended the show. Suits. Mike, he's a good guy. He's smart as heck, smartest dude in the world, the way they portray it, right? He's wealthy, he's respected by everybody. But when he got married, they literally ended the show.
So I want to hear from you, good men over here. What would you define as masculine? That's a good question, huh? Well, let's do this. Let's see what Google says masculine.
Yeah, let's look that up.
Yeah, and I know what I would say.
If it falls in line with like.
I'm gonna ask ChatGPT.
Yeah, ask ChatGPT. Yeah.
I asked Google. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT.
No, I already started. What is masculine? Or no, what is masculinity? That's what I should say. Define masculinity. And before I read their answer, so to me, masculinity is confidence, leadership, and sacrifice. That's how I would define it. Define it as confidence, leadership, and sacrifice. And definitely sacrifice because, of course, I take everything back to the Bible. And, you know, husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church. And so Christ gave everything for the church. So to me, masculinity comes with sacrifice. Like that's one of the biggest portions of it. I don't see you being a man without being able to sacrifice. And then growing up, we all seen our fathers sacrifice plenty of time, right? And then of course confidence and leadership. So
yeah, leadership is probably the biggest keyword for me, and that's what I'll superly hang masculine on.
Yeah,
is because that's what's defined in the Bible as far as how God appoints men in position. And so leadership is being a guiding force. Guiding force is good. And then also not leaning so far into emotions is a masculine, I think aligns with masculinity.
Yeah.
More so seeing the world in black or white than more so like how I feel about what's going on.
Yeah.
Listen, so I asked ChatGPT, what is masculinity?
It's a lot. Good.
Yeah, it said some things, and it said it's the what is it? First, the qualities, behaviors, and roles traditionally associated with being male. Mm-hmm. So it's the things that it doesn't matter what period of time the men are going to have, right? So don't matter what period of time, there's always going to be, as long as men, our biology is the way it is, we're always going to be the bigger, faster, stronger, which means you're going to have to do more of the protecting and different things just based on being male. Mm-hmm. But it also says, in modern discussions, masculinity is often examined in terms of toxic masculinity, which refers to harmful behaviors and expectations such as emotional repression or aggression. I think that it is beyond sad that you can ask what masculinity is, and this AI has to say, well, in today's time, masculinity is talked about as being a toxic thing.
That's a fact. Yeah.
How have we gone so far down the road of what masculinity is that even when you ask AI, hey, what is masculinity? It has to bring up toxic masculinity and the harmfulness of it. That's terrible. We have to make a change because masculinity is not toxic.
Yeah.
Toxic is literally when something gets inside of something that makes it a bad thing.
Yeah, that's why I wanted us to define it, because I wanted our listeners to have an idea what is. I think the first thing in changing this narrative is actually define what masculinity is and then live it out in front of other people. I mean, a country that has no masculinity is doomed to fail because it's lacking leadership. And I'm not saying a woman can't lead. I mean, yes, of course they can. A woman can be president, and we might actually have a president real soon. I'm not saying that, but in the household, we need that back. One of the greatest measurements to see if somebody's going to be, in prison or not go to prison is if they had a father in the house, statistically. And so one of the greatest things to do is like, did you grow up with a father? You got like a 75% less chance of going to prison, so it's just, let's bring that back, and let's bring back like good fathers. I joke all the time, like, because I hold my son a lot, and Gina always be like, oh, you spoiling him. I'm like, you just not used to a black man loving his kid, right? I be joking, but I think like America's not used to that at all. And I talked about this earlier, like, LeVar Ball got all that hate about, the way he was treating his kids and all, but he had 3 boys and 2 of them got drafted in the top 3? Wait,
yeah.
Both of them number 2?
Both of them went number 2.
Who else has done that? I can't think of nobody else who's had 2 kids get drafted number 2. Yeah. Right? And he was there for all of them.
And the one that didn't make it is playing professional basketball, just not NBA.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, yeah, bring back fatherhood. But it's going to come with some ridicule. It is.
Of course.
You know, they're gonna think that you're Joe Jackson, even when you're doing the slightest thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think we need to bring it back. We need to be that example, and I think our country needs it.
Absolutely. Not only does the country need it, like for how things look to other countries, but so many people individually cannot even comprehend the lack of development that they have due to not having a good father.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that we know for sure is that when people don't have a good father, we know that the way that they think, the way that they behave, is more likely to lead to degeneracy. We know that. If you look at the prison systems and whatnot, we know for a fact that that's like the number one thread in between it all, but we don't know the extent of it. So everybody obviously doesn't end up going to jail just because they don't have a father.
Mm-hmm.
But we know for a fact that not having a father has a negative effect. So what is the overall impact? We don't know.
Yeah, I had to Google the numbers. Sorry about that.
Mm-hmm.
U.S. Department of Justice found that 70% of juveniles in state-operated institutions come from fatherless homes. Yeah,
70% of everybody in jail.
Yeah,
fatherless.
Yeah,
that's bananas.
We gotta bring that. We gotta bring back fatherhood, and that starts with masculinity, making masculinity okay. You know.
Exactly. I think when you have a masculine man in your life, or a masculine role model in your life as a child, like being that guiding force, it gets you prepared for the world more than just having a mother. I would say, arguably, because we're gonna, as a man, in most cases, you're handing down just punishment, and typically, as a masculine man would be, he would probably be more of the disciplinary in a relationship most of the time. But that's gonna. But then also having that disciplinary, but then also having that extreme love and be able to push, and guide for a child is invaluable. Because when they get out in the world and there's going to be people that are going to be pushing them that don't care about them, or like, they're familiar with that feeling. They know how to overcome that. And I don't think there's anyone better to do that than a man. Now, of course, I believe women are capable of so much, especially nowadays, especially Black women. We'll say that for sure. They're able to guide in the best way that they possibly know how. But the thing is, they can only operate with the tools that they do have. And it's valuable to have a man and a role model there, whether they're in their household. Well, honestly, in the household growing up is the most important thing. Or in or outside, that needs to be provided in some form or fashion, because when you get out in the real world, all the leaders, all the people that you're going to have to, there are people that are signing your checks, people that you're going to have to interact with are men. And if you don't know how to interact with them, if you don't know how to fall under leadership under them, if you don't know how to be respectful, if you don't know how to approach or, then that's going to create issues for you. And so the lack of that in the household is huge.
I just think about like how my dad prepared me for the workforce. Because in Pastor Brown's house, if he tell you to do something, ain't no questions. You just go do it. So I was already used to this mentality, like if I'm told to do something, go ahead and do it. So I remember when I went for my first job interview, one of my first job interviews, it was for Kohl's, and they did like a group interview, because they don't really care. They hiring a bunch of people. So they asked some questions, and one of the people there was like, well, do y'all get the carts from outside? Because I ain't going to do that. And I remember just thinking like, you said that in the interview? No, don't get me wrong. When I work, there's some things I'm not going to do. But I ain't going to tell the people I work for I'm not going to do it, right? And I'm just like, that comes from that not having that all the time. This is what you're going to do. This is how you're going to do it. Giving you that instruction and that guidance. So to let you know, okay, if you want a job, you got to do what the people at your job want you to do. And that was just crazy. That was crazy to see.
Yeah, it's... You know what else is funny? Now, this is just crazy stuff that I saw growing up. Because in our house, not only are you going to do what Pop says to do, but you're going to know how to cook. You're going to know how to clean everything. Like you don't get another choice. I remember going to college, and I know Leonard said this, but I thought it was just the one kid that he saw when he got to college. I get to college, and I see the same thing. Kids are like, yeah, my mom's going to come by next week to clean up my room. Wait,
that's crazy.
What? Yeah, I'm not sure. Do you know how to work the washing machine? Can you help me? What do you mean, can I help you work a washing machine? It's a washing machine.
You put clothes in.
What are you talking about? Like, but there's so many people who grow up and it's like they don't have someone enforcing certain things on them, and it's just crazy to see how that plays out in life. Whereas it can be something small like, hey, washing my clothes. I got to call somebody to help me so I can get my clothes washed.
Yeah, and that's like, and I'm not knocking mothers, but that normally comes from a mother doing that, because most fathers aren't washing their kids' clothes when their kids are 16, 17, 18. Yeah.
Especially not our father. You can hang that stuff up.
At a certain age, fathers just be like, all right, it's like, you
time for
need
you
to
to
learn
get
how
it
to
done.
do it yourself.
do it.
I know that for a fact, because I did that with Taylor with peanut butter jelly sandwiches. I was like, listen, let me show you how to put this peanut butter on here, because I'm tired of making sandwiches. Right? Yeah.
Teach them up.
So fathers are needed. Masculinity is needed, definitely.
Yeah, representation on that, it needs to be more the forefront. And I would encourage people to look into the things that your kids or your adolescents are really looking at now in their formative years, and like implementing things that show some type of positive masculinity in that, because I don't want people to have a formed, especially if they don't have a father in the home, to have a formed opinion on how men are, to where they're not afraid of men or they cannot understand, men, because you're gonna have to deal with them.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to. So yeah, we need that representation. It's super important.
That afraid of men reminds me of when we did the Would You Rather episode, and I was like, would you rather be in a forest with a grizzly bear or around a man? And some people pick the bear, like, why are y'all so afraid of men? Like, listen,
I'm never gonna understand that.
I ain't messing with a grizzly bear.
You know why I'm never gonna understand that? Because there's people who are really picking them. Like, they're really honestly like,
even
I
if
feel
it was
safe
an evil man, me one-on-one with a man, I got
I'm taking that in a bear.
In a grizzly bear.
We can run the fade. I can outrun you. You get tired. I just keep going. Like, something I have.
That man may not be good at climbing trees.
You feel me? He might be
out
that
bear climbing
is getting you.
Yeah.
I say, you're done.
There's nowhere you can hide.
What you gonna do? Swim away from the bear?
Yeah.
But maybe Buddy can't swim. You can swim across the stream.
Yeah. So to put a nice button on it, men are not bad. There's a lot of good men still out there, and be the change you want to see. Especially, I think, for people, because like in our generation, we have children, right? Let's start raising good men.
Come on now.
Let's focus on that.
Raise good men. Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, absolutely. And men are needed to do that. Just always remember that. Men are needed to raise good men. If you don't have a good man in your home,
it's time to go find search for it.
That's why I love sports.
Exactly.
Sports gives you discipline. Now, not basketball. I hate to say it. That's why they be a little spoiled on basketball.
Here we go.
Basketball is, so you know it. Basketball be spoiled. Put them in something else, though. Put them in boxing, wrestling, football, anything but basketball. Basketball.
This is a Leonard.
Basketball makes divas. I don't care what nobody says.
Goodness.
Basketball makes divas. You know it's a fact, bro.
It's only basketball superstars, though.
Like in football, you call people by their last name. Like to this day, kids that I grew up with when I was like 8, we call each other by our last name. You know, there's a level of respect. There's a level of, just old timiness with that, right? Yeah, basketball is not the same way, bro. Basketball not the same way.
I mean, yeah, to some degree, I think the overall like camaraderie and stuff when it comes to basketball versus football is different because honestly, because of this. Basketball, to be successful in it, if you're going to try to be in the league or something like that, you're on multiple different teams with multiple different coaches half the time.
Yeah.
You know, basketball players switch schools all the time, like all kinds of stuff. So you don't get the sense of brotherhood or nothing like that.
You're right.
Now, when it comes to like really good football programs, you go to one high school program and that's it.
You there?
Like, there's no football off-season AAU team.
Yeah,
like because you're gonna get injured. Like that's not gonna work. So you build the camaraderie. You build a respect level more for your coaches and stuff like that because this is the person that you're with, and you're not getting an ego boost elsewhere at other teams and stuff like that. So basketball is just fine if you go to the right program. I think there's probably more programs that aren't like that. Like, I know like IMG academies and stuff like that, like big schools or Oak Hill, like to where I heard about Oakville's program. Like, they don't let the kids do a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's really locked down. Like, they, it's really more so strict and stuff like that. So
here's the thing, though, because I think basketball changed because basketball is so individual. Football is the team. You're never going to be bigger than the team.
I mean, you can be.
I mean, it's going to take.
When it comes to football, like,
you can.
There's
always those guys, but
easier in basketball.
It's so much easier and so much more prevalent in basketball.
But you pointed that out. I didn't know why, but you're right, because you could be on this AAU team and you be the man. Mm-hmm. You on that AAU team and you not, and now you forget this coach.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
And then,
I'll go back over here.
And then with basketball, there's like FIBA competitions. There's all kinds of other stuff that you can enter into at any point in time. Yeah. If you're a popular, there's Peace Jam.
There's no off season.
There's all kinds of different, and you're falling on the line of all these other different guys and all these other different coaches and trainers and all that kind of stuff. There's no consistent driving force of like, this is our head coach. This is the football team I play for, and that's it. Yeah. And so I think that's a big factor.
Yeah. Yeah. But even still, it's still good though. Just put,
for sure. Put them in something to help discipline them. And then this is the thing: when they're in it, make sure that they, especially as a man, make sure they commit to like, hey, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do it.
You're finishing the season.
You're gonna finish.
Yeah.
Like, we're not gonna commit to it, and then it gets tough for you, and then all right, we're done with it. Like, if you say you're gonna get into something, we're gonna get into it, and we're gonna complete it. And that's going to teach them more discipline and more perseverance.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. And I think so many kids are missing out because of the physicality of football and the narrative behind it now. It's like, I don't know if for my kid. Listen, put that boy in flag football, okay? Get them on a football field. Because honestly, it's something.
Baseball. No, I'm gonna be the
guy.
Something
special, though.
I'm about to be the guy. I'm not worried about CTE. Your kid has to be good to get CTE.
Great.
Most kids don't even make it on high school.
Listen.
Okay? Most kids,
gotta be great.
By the time you get to high school, you on the sideline. You on the bench.
Do you know how much?
You gotta be good to
get CTE. Required to get CTE.
Yeah.
It's a lot to it.
It's not a one hit thing.
It's a lot to it, but yeah.
You can get CTE with soccer, with the ball hitting your head. Like, I'm not worried about CTE. Now, once you go next level, then you can worry about CTE. But most kids at 8 years old running up and down the field, they ain't not getting CTE. I'm not worried about that.
Mm-hmm. And that's why you put them in basketball sometimes, because guess what? But you can play year round.
I really want my son to be in boxing. Boxing is a very disciplined sport. I would love
all of the martial arts.
I would love
extreme discipline is necessary
to box. Yeah.
Yeah, boxing is good. Yeah, that would be really good.
That's a discipline right there.
Mm-hmm. But there's no.
I'll be worried about my wife though, because I don't know how she'll feel.
Don't get my baby.
Yeah, the stress level. I'm thinking about her stress level, but I'm thinking about my stress level dealing with her stress level. If our kid is out there boxing,
But they kids wear headgear though.
Hey, wait. We gotta pause for a second. Something that is not talked about enough is what he just said. My stress level.
Dealing with
her stress level. Yeah. Listen, it's a whole thing. Being the guy supporting whatever you're going through. Yes, you're the one going through it, but the people supporting you are also going through some stuff as a result. And I feel like it never really gets like highlighted or supported until somebody like amazing goes to the Hall of Fame and they have the chance to give their Hall of Fame speech and they talk about, my wife or my kids or whoever's supporting me. But listen, anytime you're going through something, if you have a support system, those people are going through something too, because to deal with you is not easy. It don't matter who you are. To deal with you is not easy. And to deal with you in the midst of your stress and your trauma, that's a whole nother job.
That's tough.
Yep, that's why I shout out my boys Ryan and Jarrell. Because like when Gina got pregnant, they was right there for me. And most people will be like, what do you mean for you? Like, she the one that's pregnant. Like, yeah, she pregnant. And I'm going through it with her. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I couldn't be like, well, babe, I'm so stressed out. Like, she having a baby. I can't say nothing to her. So my guys had me, and they would always check on me. It was like, how you do it with the pregnancy. So I appreciate that.
Shout out to them. It's important. Shout out. But speaking of guys in sports and whatnot, a name came up recently we were talking.
Noah Lyles.
Golly. Okay, Josh Hart.
I don't like him. I don't have to like him.
Did you hear what Josh Hart said?
Mm-mm.
Josh Hart plays guard / forward for the Knicks.
He was like, "Yeah, I'm
said,
hold on, wait. I only root for America."
No, Josh said he was hoping that he lost.
Nah, see, I don't do that.
Yeah. No, I wasn't hoping that he lost. I still wanted him to win.
Yeah, I want to win. I was happy he won.
But I mean, I felt like it was a win-win for me because if he did lose, then I can kind of like
not listen to him as much.
but I was definitely rooting for him.
Yeah, always root for America because that's my country.
Well, I know you're going to get to your quote, so you can go look it up. But I remember, I don't know if it was a year ago, maybe 2, and he had a problem with, I think, NBA World Champions, and he was like, why are they called World Champions? They don't play against the world. First of all, we're talking NBA. Yes, they are. Okay? Yeah. Every good player comes to the NBA. So first of all, you win the NBA championship, it's a world championship. Let's start with that. But secondly, it just lets you know, like, he wants that fame because he is that good. But he's that good at something that's not as popular.
Yeah, listen, I say the same thing to people, but just in different terms.
Because, like, I could be the world's greatest chess player.
Exactly.
Nobody cares if I can't dunk like LeBron.
It don't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It does not matter. If you want fame, you have to do something that grabs the attention of more people.
Exactly.
And flat out, track and field will make you famous, but it won't make you, like I said, Kobe Bryant famous.
Track and field is what we do when we get ready for football season.
That's
how we stay in shape.
That's actually
right.
And then the guys that didn't play football, they're the ones going out getting the medals.
That's actually true.
Okay? That's what it is. But
yeah. So basically, when he was talking about world's greatest chess player, it's Magnus Carlsen. Okay, and I kind of know who he is because I kind of follow chess on my. But you're absolutely right. Nobody's gonna know who that is.
yeah.
Not nobody. Let's say that, but a lot of people. Majority of people know his fame is nowhere near as close to the notoriety of like a LeBron James or even a Noah Lyles in that case. But yeah, it's kind of crazy because Noah's a very highly opinionated person, and to some degree, you know, he is one of the top. He holds the American record in, I believe, the 200, right? So fastest American of the 200 of all time.
I can't compete with that.
But he's not the all-time greatest basketball player of all time, or like in comparison, because there was a quote basically, and I think it was in an interview. And he said, and this is Noah Lyles speaking. He says, "There's this quote by this. I don't know which NBA player. I think he was talking about Scalabrini whenever he did the.
I think it was Scalabrini.
Yeah. But he said, "I'm closer to LeBron than the average Joe is to me. So my question is the gap wider between an average Joe and LeBron, or the average Joe and you?" And that's what I believe the interview had said. And he said, "Well, I'm the third fastest man ever to live. So you're definitely getting to LeBron, or you're getting closer to LeBron than me, basically. So the average Joe is closer to LeBron than they are to Noah Lyles." And I don't know. That's kind of tough to me because, first of all, LeBron just isn't one of the greatest. Arguably,
he's the third greatest of all time.
I will argue him being top 2. I'll accept that argument.
Oh no, he's definitely top 2. I mean, come on now.
No,
at this point, now of course, in our hearts,
the
greatest basketball player.
If y'all don't
listen, wait a minute, hold on. The greatest basketball player in the world
is Michael Jordan.
Is Michael Jordan
the second
Kobe
greatest
Bryant to me, right?
I'm gonna do this right here, just so y'all can see. Okay, that's good right there. I had to make sure they knew what was going on.
Yeah. Now, of course, we're all California natives. You know what I'm saying? Of course, Kobe Bryant.
You can't argue with that man.
He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
His death solidified. If he didn't have it before,
he had it then.
I
put it to you like this.
Nobody said
LeBron fought.
We're not having this argument right now.
Okay, go ahead.
We're not, because we're getting sidetracked.
Yeah.
If you're being a basketball purist,
then you're putting Kobe.
LeBron James is the greatest basketball specimen of all time.
Longevity wise, I'll give you that.
LeBron James is the greatest basketball specimen of all time, and there's nobody close.
Yeah, specimen?
Yeah, specimen.
Yeah,
we go with that.
It's not even close. Yeah,
I'm not going to say player, but...
Yeah, not even close, yeah.
I mean, if we just... we're going to get into it a little bit.
Okay.
If we factor in greatness as a whole, like everything that LeBron has been able to achieve with the game of basketball and personally, and it took me a while to get to this point, right? Who is better than him?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
So let me say,
No.
Not even close. Let me just explain.
Listen to what I just said.
Let me explain.
Did
this.
you hear what I
heard
said?
it, and I'm not disagreeing with you. But
Okay, gotcha.
Let me just explain this. LeBron at 18 was better than Kobe and Michael at 18.
Not better than Kareem.
He started off. Shut up.
Yeah.
LeBron started here, and he went here, and he stayed here longer than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Kobe's didn't start up there, but Kobe's height is higher than LeBron's height ever was. Even though he came down, that's the difference. LeBron, he started high, he went higher, and he stayed there. But Kobe's peak is, to me, and everyone else that watch basketball, Kobe's peak is higher.
Yeah,
than
I
LeBron's
think
peak.
Kobe's peak is higher. I think Jordan's peak is also higher.
Well, we already know that. That's why Jordan's greatest of all time.
Yeah.
So it depends on how you define it. Because if you simply define it by longevity, then I give it to LeBron. And then secondly, after LeBron is Kareem. Yeah. And then Jordan gets pushed down probably to 4.
I don't even know because Jordan didn't play.
But actually, no, because Jordan did play at 40 years old in 2002. Yeah. And he was averaging 23 a game before he hurt his knee.
He took 4 seasons off before that, bro.
He was still 40.
Okay, but we're talking about consistency, longevity. You can't take years off.
Okay, and then take this then. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar went to college, played 4 years, came in, was, well, the greatest, to be honest with you. He's second right now in points all time, third in rebounds, third in blocks. He has 6 championships, 6 MVPs. He's done things that LeBron James is still chasing after. And he played till he was 42. LeBron ain't reached that yet. And he only played till he was 42. He only played till he was 42 because he didn't come out of high school like LeBron did. If he'd came out of high school, he'd have had the scoring championship 3 years earlier. And his scoring record LeBron would still be chasing that right now.
Yeah, probably.
And that's why I can confidently say Kareem, because it really almost don't matter what your metrics are for greatness. The answer is Kareem.
Great.
Unless you want to go with Michael Jordan.
I'm letting him get everything off. I'm still going to kill this argument.
You can't kill it, but go ahead.
Kill it.
When I specifically said, as far as impact, what LeBron's been able to do with the sport of basketball from the time he's got in to now, you cannot call him the greatest basketball. Just, first of all, the money he's able to make, endorsements, everything, right? Now, of course, second to Jordan, right? Jordan is still, when it comes to, what do you call, his athletic wear and impact and everything, yeah, he's the GOAT, right? But LeBron has been able to be, like he said, longevity sustained since he was talked about in high school till this very day, right? Built the whole school, has a lifelong, got his son in the NBA, bro.
Got him drafted to his team.
All-time leading scorer of all time in the NBA. Top 10 in dang near every statistic, dang near. Like, and then he's won numerous amount of championships, lost a lot of them, but been to the finals a ton. Our best player on the team, dang near every season. And he's he's a billionaire, and he's still playing basketball. So like, impressive. Never had any crazy scandal.
Not one.
Married to the same woman, black woman. On top of that,
come on now, that's what I'm liking.
And then shows up his black children, takes them with him everywhere. Like, come on now. Like, to me,
if you had to be somebody,
exactly,
you want to be LeBron.
You want to be LeBron 10 times out of 10, bro. Like, and I love Kobe because the love for Kobe, I think, is just strong.
No, you're right. You would want to be LeBron. You want to be LeBron
James. Like, if your kid's career path, that's not even
I might want to
like Steph Curry is up there. Trust me.
I might want to be Steph Curry.
Steph Curry.
I said LeBron started here. Yeah, Steph started down here.
Yeah.
Way down here.
Yeah. Except for the fact that he had his dad and had money.
Steph started down here.
When it comes to the overall life,
listen what I'm saying.
I understand.
Steph started down
Steph went to Davidson.
LeBron James. I can confidently say now, greatest basketball being of probably of all time. Greatest basketball player of all time? No, not to me. It's still Jordan. But just that encompasses everything.
Nobody's arguing, bro.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Okay. I feel you on that. That's a slightly different argument to what
because what no one fails to realize, one, he's on track. I don't think he realizes that. Yeah. Okay, as great as he is, it's track. It's not basketball. You're not gonna get that basketball love. Mm-hmm. Even football players don't get basketball love. That's just a fact. And football is America's #1 sport. When you look at the numbers, football pulls in way more viewers, but don't nobody love football players like they love basketball players. It just is what it is. Number 2, when it comes to sprinting, we only care about the 100. We watch the 200 when the 100's not on. Okay,
that's true,
and that's what he forgets that too. So your greatness comes from what you did in the 100, not what you did in the 200. And I had to Google it because I had to check. Now this ain't nothing to sneeze at. Don't get me wrong, because I can't be nowhere near these lists. Mm-hmm. He's got the 12th fastest 100. You think LeBron's number 12 on any list of anything? Absolutely not.
And then not only that, what you got to realize is when you're not in a sport that makes their all-time greats as big as others. So one of the things about Kareem, just a quick little sidetrack, that the reason why he's not as big as some other stars are is because he was a pro-black militant man in the 60s and 70s. So they intentionally dimmed his light.
Oh, for sure.
Because when it comes to basketball, there's literally not an argument for him to not be the greatest. It doesn't really exist. But so they intentionally did that. But other than that, Michael came, Magic came, they weren't militant pro-black men. Let the light shine. Kobe, same way, let the light shine. LeBron is not, he's pro-black. He's far from militant. Let his light shine. So their sport creates super duper stars. His sport don't create a super duper star. So what you have to do is be something dramatically different if you want to get that kind of notoriety. Tennis creates stars, not super duper stars. But Venus and Serena Williams are different. All right? Gymnastics creates stars, not super duper stars. But Gabby Douglas, when she came, she was different. And Simone Biles, she is different. Mm-hmm. Noah Lyles is fast. Mm-hmm. He ain't different. So he's never going to get with these the level of fame.
And he didn't win by the gaps that Usain Bolt was winning by.
Mm-mm. Yeah, he didn't win by gaps. And, okay, that's another one. Usain Bolt was different. We knew he wasn't finishing races running full speed, and it still wasn't close. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was different.
To me, Noah Lyles comes off kind of like a hater.
And also, Usain Bolt has a personality that people want. We want to see him. Mm-hmm. Who wants to see Noah Lyles?
I mean, a lot of people do want to see Noah Lyles. Only when the Olympics is coming around, when Worlds come around, like when it comes to track and field. But he's not even the best. He's not even the most popular runner in the U.S. Probably
Sha'Carri.
Yeah.
And that's because
she's different.
Exactly.
She definitely is. She looks like Dallas. I'll tell you exactly what city she's from.
Shout out to Sha'Carri. Sha'Carri dope.
Yeah. And I'll say, respecting Noah Lyles on what he does, but when it comes to just greatness on a scale to where people are arguing if you're the greatest to ever do it. Ever do it? You're not in that conversation.
He's not.
Not at all.
You're not. You can't really compare yourself to somebody being closer to LeBron. Now, if you're just talking about off of basic athleticism and skill, you still can't compare yourself to LeBron James.
The greatest specimen.
Won the genetic lottery.
Oh, my goodness.
The man has,
there's
strong,
3 athletes of all time you can compare to LeBron James.
Literally.
Bo, Wilt, Shaq. That's about it.
If you want to, LeBron's a one-on-one.
I'll give it to Bo Jackson.
Yeah, but the likelihood, and I was telling this to the guys earlier, to y'all earlier, the likelihood of you finding somebody who can beat Noah Lyles in a race is way higher.
Way higher
than somebody that can beat LeBron James. Yeah.
I feel like now, of course, if we're talking about one-on-ones, right? Sure, Michael Beasley beats LeBron in one-on-ones all the time. Shout out to Mike Beasley. He just won the MVP for
Really?
Congratulations.
Mike Beasley's cool. So, but of course, if you're saying, because basketball is a different type of sport, okay, you can find people who are good, who can score.
You just actually named two different sports. 1-on-1 basketball is not the same as 5-on-5 basketball.
Bro, listen how good LeBron is. When the Warriors won that first championship, they gave the MVP to the guy guarding LeBron.
Come on now. I mean, that was a mistake.
Because they couldn't give it to LeBron.
They could have
given
gave it.
They were like, who was closest to him?
They could have gave it to the best player on the winning team, but you know.
That's how good he is. Yeah, man.
Crazy.
Yeah, I low key feel bad for Noah Lyles because it feels like he wants something that he's never going to get.
Never going to get. And it's okay, buddy.
Yeah.
It's okay. Just be a great sprinter.
But that's why I feel bad for him because I feel bad for people in that situation. It don't really matter the situation.
I don't.
If you're striving for something that you can't get,
he got a Nike deal or something.
He needs some publicists to help him. Like, and I get it. Like, you have your opinions about things, sure, but like what you're actually striving for, and like the notoriety that you want, because nobody makes these statements unless they're really trying to get people to see, like, hey, I'm really better than you.
Look at me.
Because let's say next Olympics. He gets the fastest time ever, all time, right? He beats both of Usain Bolt's
that'd be crazy.
Scores, and he gets gold on both times, right? Yeah, sure. Let's just say he does. The steam gets taken away now because you've already built this viewpoint of you now to people.
It's resistance,
and so now people are gonna be like, "Yeah, great job," but like you're not gonna get that notoriety like a Usain Bolt. Now after this because we wanted to see you trying to force a moment,
trying to force it,
and it's just like just be who you are. That's what I appreciated about you saying. Like when he was running and he was at the top of his game, he was being himself, and he was not. It didn't seem forced at all.
Not at all.
It was really natural. Now Noah's a very eccentric person, and he's very much like I don't know how to explain it, but he's very eccentric, very brash, like in as far as energy. But like I don't know, he reminds me of like an iPad kid though. Like like he grew up like I don't know, like just the nails being it, like the energy, even the way he talks.
In his hair.
Yeah, even the way he talks is kind of like okay. So I get it, but it does you better to just like be because before I heard him talk a lot more in the recent media, storm that's been going on with him. I rock with Noah Lyles. I wanted him. I wanted to see him.
We root for our Americans,
and I still want to see him beat all the records and do all this and do his thing. Obviously, because then then it'll be in America. You know what I'm saying?
But
like,
we've had
respect to you saying, but like, come on,
we've had Americans that we love, like Michael Phelps. Like everyone loved him.
Absolutely.
And no one he never came and was like, well, I'm actually a world champion, not just an NBA champion. It's like, bro,
just
but like, just be realistic though. Like, you recognize...
Why did he have to say that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
because can someone name 5 people that was in that race? Can you just name 5 people that was in that race?
I could say Noah Lyles' name.
No, but I can name 5 people in the NBA.
What was it? Something DeGrasse, the dude from Canada.
Neil deGrasse Tyson was in it?
Nah, not Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's funny because that's what I wanted to say.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, I mean, I can't really name anybody.
Yeah, he needs a publicist or somebody to sit down and let him know that what he's looking for is going to require.
I got it.
The eye of
what he needs is to join our podcast.
Ooh,
yeah,
wow. Excellent.
Hey, on a real note though, something like that would be good for him because this is why because he needs to appeal more likable to the public. So because our podcast don't have 2 million followers right now, it would be like, oh, look at Noah doing this nice thing, showing up for these
ain't no nice thing for me.
Yeah, no, he don't gotta come, but I mean, respect if he do.
I'm telling you how the public would see it. Like, Noah hopped on this podcast with these guys as they're up and coming. That's great for him to, do something like that. He doesn't have anything that makes him like super likable other than the fact that he's tremendously skilled in what he does. He needs to be more like what's the lady in WNBA? The white lady who just took over like a storm. What's her name?
Caitlin Clark?
Caitlin Clark. People like Caitlin Clark.
I like Caitlin.
I love Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
But that's my point. We like she has a talent, of course, but we like her,
and her sport.
So she got a Nike deal.
Her sport's more popular than sprinting.
That's wild.
That's a fact.
She's just more
That's
popular.
a fact.
She's more popular.
Think about it. You watch sprinting every 4 years. And not you, but the average American watch sprinting every 4 years. Now, you here in Texas, you probably go down like Texas Relays or something like that. But the average American watch sprinting every 4 years. They'll watch women's basketball a lot more often than that.
True. But they don't watch it on purpose. A lot of times they watch it on accident.
it just happens to be.
It's just on TV. It's like,
this is toxic masculinity, right here.
In a very real way, though, that is toxic masculinity. Not because what we said was toxic, but because it doesn't seem supportive of what people want. It doesn't come off the way people want it to. It's too real. It was too honest. Because let's be real.
But I'm being 100% honest.
That's what I'm saying. It's real.
When I turn on WNBA,
it depends on who's playing.
It depends on who's playing, and it'll be by accident. Like it'll be on or just comes on next. And I'm just like,
is the WNBA still?
Yeah.
Is WNBA still on 2K?
It is.
How often do y'all play with them?
Come on, don't do that.
No, I just want to know how often.
Yeah, I don't even.
But see, that's my point though, because that's true. It's real, but it doesn't support what people want us to support, and that's what makes people say it's toxic. When really,
it's just honest.
People don't be watching WNBA.
It's just and
that's the reason why Caitlin Clark is so big.
Because
we don't watch the WNBA.
I know women who played college basketball, and they'll tell you they don't watch the WNBA.
Oh, for sure.
If they don't watch it, I'm cool.
Man, that was good. Listen, y'all. I got to go. I got some things to take care of right now. Y'all want to keep this going, or we gonna call it?
Yeah, go. What's the
yeah. Y'all
have fun. We'll keep it going.
It's still 3 good guys, but one of us got business to handle.
Yeah,
that's a shame.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's a shame. Everybody's shame.
Don't forget your. You need these?
I wanted to see what else was on this.
There you go.
What else was on this list to talk about today?
So we're gonna talk a little bit about
Jesus loves you.
We're gonna talk a little bit about now. This is a great segue too.
Now that we have real men here.
Exactly. Okay. No allows. Most people will call him delusional 100%. When it comes to his viewpoint about how he compares to some of the greatest athletes of all time, right? Mm-hmm. How would you define delusion, and when do you think being delusional is acceptable? Do you think it is acceptable in some moments or times, or do you think it's just something we should just?
Yeah, so we talked about this earlier. Anytime you're reaching for greatness, you have to be delusional, at least a little bit. Mm-hmm. Think of Joe Jackson. He had to be delusional to think he could take his 5 sons and make them the world's greatest singing act. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then just every athlete, you have to be delusional, unless you're 7 feet tall. But you know what I'm saying? But just most people, you have to be delusional to believe in yourself that you can overcome the odds. Mm-hmm. So I think being delusional is good, but you also have to be realistic when it don't work. So you can be delusional up until a point. Mm-hmm. I'm the greatest. But when it comes time to perform, if you didn't perform like the greatest, okay, now you need to go find a 9 to 5. That's how I feel about it. If you're delusional, then you perform. And you perform great. Man.
So when you express outward delusion, for instance, stating to people, "I'm the greatest basketball player on this court right now," or whatever it may be, right? And if you're being honest with yourself, even probably before playing the game, you're probably not the best player on the court, right? But a lot of people say or even rappers and stuff like that, or people who are in competitive type atmospheres will say that's what you're supposed to think. You're supposed to think you're better than everybody, right? And that's what gives you that edge. That's what gives you oh, I'm not gonna let this person beat me. I'm look, I can be just as competitive and just be honest about my position and saying look, I may not be better than you, but I'm about to work 20 times. I don't want to lose. Yeah, basically. So I think delusion can be good in a sense of, I don't know. It's kind of even tough for me to even say delusion can be good, because if we look at that, let's look at the definition real quick.
Yeah.
So delusional is having false or unrealistic beliefs or opinions. The psychiatric definition is maintaining fixed false beliefs even when confronted with facts. usually as a result of, some people say mental illness sometimes.
See, that's it, though. It's
So-
really confronted with facts. That's what I was saying. When it's time to perform and you don't perform like the greatest, then you need to go ahead and wrap it up.
I think being delusional can be useful. Like, it can be a tool to get you to where you want to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that, because people that, believe that they are the greatest or want to make sure that they are the greatest, they're probably going to work harder if they're in that mentality of like, oh, I'm better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or, they want to go improve it more in some cases, right? So that's good. But I think it's going to work out better for you if you're honest, or more so, because I associate delusional people when it comes to that type of standard is like people who are less humble. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'm better than you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you're like, wait a minute, like, are you though? So yeah, that's kind of tough.
So is it only delusional if it's false?
I believe.
Yeah, because if
I believe so.
Yeah, you're right. So then in that case, then delusion don't help there.
It doesn't.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Because we always I always be like, yeah, you gotta be a little delusional, believe in yourself beyond all odds. But you're right.
I think it's just a great tool. Like, the word delusional is a great tool. Like, to say to somebody, you gotta be a little bit delusional to reach the goals, right? People get that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get that if you say that to me, and I'll even maybe agree with it. But like, I know in the back of my mind, like, I'm not gonna oppose what the actual truth is to believe I'm gonna reach something, or whatever. But it's almost like, you got to be a little bit crazy to go for what you want to go for. Of course, you're not going to actually be clinically crazy.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But like, you're going to, go hard. You're going to do as much as you can. So I think it's a good tool word.
I think we're saying,
like, you don't want to actually be.
I was just saying it as a tool word because I said, when it's time to perform, you actually have to match up. So we're saying the same thing. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it is up to you. You need to be aware of your abilities.
For sure.
100%. You need to be aware of your abilities. Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to delusion, like, okay, have you ever experienced like a delusional person or somebody stating something that you like found wildly delusional? Like how can you really say that?
Yeah, I've experienced it plenty of times. Like, when I was younger, I used to rap, and people thought they was gonna beat me in a battle. Delusional. Crazy. 5150. You know what I'm saying?
That is absolutely insane. Yeah, you're right. LB the Great wasn't LB the Great for no reason.
Yeah, exactly.
It was adjacent to Alexander the Great. It was the greatest, war strategist of all time.
But have I seen? Yeah, I have. Like,
the art of war.
I played sports, so I've definitely seen guys that ran their mouth, and we all sat and saw them in practice and knew that they wasn't.
Don't you hate that when you play a team sport? Like, I remember. And of course, let's just preface this by saying, by no means was I a basketball savant or star, okay?
Yeah.
Trust me. But I remember years ago playing on my freshman team back in California. Like, one of our players was talking a lot of mess to another team. We were playing Rancho Cucamonga. Now, we already knew. We were, like, our team was trash. Like, we weren't good, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Their team was exponentially better than us. But I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, why are y'all talking so heavy? We're about to get dogged out. It's going to get worse for us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what happened. And you know what? That type of delusion and stuff like that, it's just not useful.
Because you know what? It keeps you unaware of your weaknesses, so you can't work on them.
True.
Because everyone has weaknesses. And if you don't think you have the weaknesses, then you're not spending your time working on your weaknesses.
Now, would you call... That brings me to this. Would you call Allen Iverson like delusional whenever he made the well, I don't know. I don't think I would necessarily call him, but
I wouldn't, because I'm sure AI was killing kids from the playground all the way up. So he knew it.
He knew how good he was.
He knew it, yeah.
He was just like, hey, I'm not going to practice. I don't need to.
He knew it.
Like, y'all talking about practice.
From 5 years old, he was the best guy on the court. He knew it. Like, he doesn't need to practice.
Good. Now, one thing when we hear the word delusion, it's most of the time in the sense of relationship or dating climates now, as far as the goals or the people are looking to reach for and get in this relationship with. They're maybe a little bit delusional in their viewpoint of how they view themselves as the ultimate prize, basically.
I know where you're going.
So, how do you feel about that type of thing?
We have to be aware of our weaknesses. We gotta know what's going on with us in order to see what we gonna, for lack of a better term, pull. Because you do that. You got some people be like, he got to be 6 feet tall. Okay, how much of the population is 6 feet tall? Or, you know what I'm saying? Now you cutting yourself down. You got to make 6 figures. How much of the population makes 6 figures?
Very few.
You know, you got to be dark skinned. How much? Well, there's a lot of dark skinned people on this planet. But 6 feet tall and dark skinned in 6 figures, like you really just cutting down.
Then
he got to be
straight. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
This is America. Exactly.
He's got to be straight. He's got to be able to speak your language.
He's got to be single.
Yeah, he's got to be single. He's got to find you attractive.
Come on.
That's a lot.
You're just delusional.
Yeah.
That's what some people have when they list. And then I find them, because I see this all the time, I find them single for a long time. And now we getting older. We over 30. And they're still single because they have this standard that's unrealistic. When the real standard should start with what type of person are they?
Exactly. And then a lot of times you get the rebuttal, I don't want to settle. I want to go for what I want. And I'm just like, well,
you need to start learning to want things that are good for you.
Exactly.
Because everything you want is superficial.
Yeah.
So start learning to want things that are good for you. Like me and my wife talk about this. I compare dating people, like some people are ice cream and some people are vegetables. So what I mean by that is, like, some people are ice cream, like they look good, all that stuff, but they ain't no substance. And some people are vegetables. They plenty of substance, good for you, but they don't really look that good. You got to find somebody that can be like both.
So what food would you say is a good balance? Right?
Broccoli flavored ice cream.
Let me think. Broccoli flavored ice cream is wild. That is wild. Like, would you say, like, hold on, maybe like shrimp? Like shrimp scampi.
I don't eat shrimp. I wouldn't know.
See, it's like, it's pretty good, and it's like it's seafood, so it's not that bad. It's not that.
I don't know.
I don't know what would be that.
I don't know, but yeah,
put in the comments.
Because I was telling my wife while we was just talking, when I was younger, I think I was in 10th grade, I decided to get a girlfriend, and I was just looking for a girl that was like, really sweet, went to church and all this stuff, and so she checked all the good boxes. But I really wasn't that attracted to her. But I was trying to be mature. So I classified her as broccoli. Like, she was good for me, but I just didn't really like her. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to do that. So you got to find the perfect mix. You got to find somebody that's they're both ice cream and broccoli. So,
yeah. That's tough to do nowadays.
It is. It is. But you know what I've learned? I don't know how to say this. Listen, if they look like an IG model, you might want to pass.
Yeah, you might want to.
You might want to let that one go.
If they look, or if they just blatantly are an IG model.
If they are an IG model, that's more so what I mean. Yeah. If they're giving off IG model vibes, you might want to pass. It's not to say that they can't be, but
yeah, it's you want to see a sample size. You want to see, like, this person be in your life and like see that what they're doing now can slide into what it is that you're doing, and it can mesh well. And it's just like, if I don't see that, if I don't have an example of that, you might be capable. You might eventually reach those. But like, if I don't see any of that, like, how do I know that that's gonna?
So our question to you: somebody listening to this and they're like, okay, some of my standards are pretty high. Maybe I am delusional. How do I know what to let go of?
I think the first thing is you want to ground yourself. And when I say ground yourself, like, you want to have people around you who want the best for you, because a lot of times, I'll just say this for me, a lot of times I don't even see it. And, and I'm trying, as a Christian man, I'm trying to, see the progression, see where I should be going. But a lot of times it takes someone else to be like, hey, this is what you're doing. This is what you shouldn't do. Like, or giving some actual genuine advice. I think having that being grounded is important. And then also looking forward to examples of people who are in successful things that you look up to and look at, and getting sound advice for them. I think that's important. I know there's a lot more things.
No, that's key.
I know there's a lot more things that can be, in there, but I think that's huge, because that puts into perspective. That put into perspective for me what I needed to expect in marriage and in finding somebody. because I was able to see examples, good or bad, and I'm like, okay, I want that, I don't want that. What are they doing? How can I implement this?
Yeah.
Am I being real with myself and being honest with myself?
We should spend time around people who are where we want to go. Spend time around married people. I watched that show, Pop the Balloon and Find Love. I watch it all the time.
I was going to talk about that, yeah.
And so a guy asked, he said, why are you single? And all the girls
started popping.
Pop.
I just watched that one, yeah.
But mind you, the host who's married, she was like, why is that a popping question? She was like, why is that a popping? She's a married woman. Mm-hmm. And when I went to the comments, I was looking, and you could see like a lot of ladies that were saying like they're married and they had no problem with that. And then a couple of women who were single, they were like, well, it's a problem because X, Y, Z. And it's like, that shows you the mentality between a married woman and a woman who's not mentally, I don't want to say, she's not mentally there yet where the married woman is. But if you spend time with married women, you start to think like them, and you might get to be married like you want to be. So, yeah, I don't know why that was a popping question. I heard it. It was like, they say that just to kind of drag you. I'm like, but he's single too.
Exactly.
You can answer the question and ask.
First of all, let's just get to the facts of the matter. You're on a dating show, right? Where the goal is pop the balloon and find love, right? That's what's been set forth. Like, finding love that leads to marriage, and a lot of these men that are coming on there, they're saying like, this is what I want in the next couple of years. So I think it's a good question to ask anyone if you're looking to pursue possibly a relationship or anything further with them, to start off to say like, hey, why are you single? Why do you feel like, and then they just want to get a good idea of what you're gauging, how you gauge things.
Because you can be single for a bunch of reasons.
Exactly.
I just re-entered the dating field. I just had a kid. I was put in school first. Like, let me know.
He died.
Thank you.
He cheated.
Let me know where your mind is
exactly.
at in regards to.
And we're not gonna hold that against you. Like, if your person left this earth, got arrested, so okay, we get it. Yeah. It wasn't something that you intended to do. You were working towards a successful relationship. Okay, great. And then I think one of the other guys asked, like, what did you do wrong? Yeah, what did you do wrong? What did they do? And then, like, one of the other girls that popped was like, I don't want to answer that question. Yeah. Stuff like that.
I said, forget her.
Yeah, I'm just like, that's kind of crazy to me. Buddy. I'm like, so basically you're admitted to, you did a bunch of wrong things, or you don't want to. Now, okay, somebody presented, I think it was actually my wife, she might have said something. She was like, well, maybe, since they're on, this is a popular, like, web show to be seen. They don't want that person to feel weird or whatever. And my thing is, like, you signed up for a show. That's what you came on here for. Yeah. So, like, that's something you think about before coming. One of the girls, we probably should do a reaction with those.
Because I watch, me and my wife watch every episode.
Oh, yeah, we all watch every single one. So, I think it's one of the most recent ones. One of the girls kept disqualifying herself. Like,
yes, because she was a stripper or something like that.
Yeah. She just assumed everybody was like, yeah, you're not going to like this, so I'm popping. He was like, man, why don't you allow me to, tell you what I like or don't like? Yeah. And I'm just like, that's kind of...
But we do that in real life, though.
True.
We DQ ourselves from people.
You know what? That's absolutely true. I've done that many a time.
Have you? Yeah. I've seen it. I haven't. I'm a little delusional when it comes to dating.
Yeah. Well, no, I wouldn't say on the dating field, but like in other things, like I'll disqualify myself. Oh, definitely. Like certain job opportunities where people 100%. Are like, oh yeah, you can do this, and I'm just like, yeah, you're saying that, but like, I don't know if I can do that. Yeah.
Especially when it comes to work. Like, I'm so grateful that I just decided to, because one of my trainers was like, hey, there's a position open I think you should apply for. I'm so grateful I did, because I almost didn't. I almost was like, I don't know how, and nobody ever told me how to do that. I'm so glad I did. Yeah, we do that all the time in life, definitely. Yeah, don't disqualify yourself.
Definitely. Done that a billion times. So, yeah, and seeing that firsthand, it was a little bit frustrating, but I'm like, yeah, we do that, though. Mm-hmm. We do that. And it's just like, my thing is just like, dang, you came on the show, though? Like, you came on a dating show?
Why you come on a dating show? She DQ'd herself
every single time. Every time.
She was like, you look like a nice guy. Pop!
You look great and everything, but I don't think you would like what I do, and I'm just like, you don't even know what you do.
But she said she was a traveling stripper.
Yeah, you know what? She would have been doing me a favor. Yeah. She was beautiful, trust me. beautiful.
Yeah.
Out of lineup, one of the most beautiful girls in the lineup, right?
There's a difference between an exotic dancer
But-
and a traveling.
Yeah, that's tough. For
I
me.
couldn't do it.
Yeah. One of the dudes was like, yeah,
he was like, "You right."
Yeah, you're right. I respect that. I was just like, yeah, nah, we're not doing that one. But man, it just goes to show, like, I think, like I said, being delusional or working in delusion, it's not a positive thing, I would say.
Always be in touch with the facts.
But absolutely be in touch with the facts and know what to look for, and then make sure you're not leaning into that. You know, you got to do some self work, and get some outside opinions from people you trust and love.
Like you can have unrealistic goals, but have a realistic way to obtain it.
Exactly.
You know, because like financially, I have unrealistic goals for myself. You'd be like, bro, people don't make that much money. Okay, but I have a plan on how to get it. So yeah, don't be delusional. Be in touch with the facts.
Exactly. Yeah, having a high goal to reach for isn't. I don't think is delusional at all. It can sound delusional to people, like you're not gonna get that, but it's just like there's people that have it, and I don't even know if they thought they would get that far before it happened, but it did. So it's possible, right? But it's a progression. Like I'm not gonna move like I'm a billionaire now because I can't move like that.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to go. Yeah, just charge the car.
Yeah.
Put it up, whatever. We're gonna be realistic in the way we move, but we're gonna have high goals to achieve for it, because that keeps the battery in your back. It keeps you going, but still be in touch with what's going on actually.
100%.
Yeah. I love that.
What else we got?
Man, what else we got, man? Honestly, that was the last thing I got. One thing I do want to ask you about though is what was it? I was kind of talking about this with my wife a little bit ago, and I meant to write it down, but I literally just went blank. I'll ask you this though: what have you been watching lately? As far as like, okay, I'll ask you this: not necessarily in TV shows, right? Because I know you're kind of like me in the sense, like, right now I've been watching a lot of stuff on like insurrections, and like it's been more politics because it's election year.
Heavy politics right now.
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy right now, and like I'll say right now, like I'm so middle of the road with so many things when it comes to politics. Like, because I'm trying to gain a good perspective to work from, right? And I always feel like I need to check myself when it comes to things politically, right? For instance, I'll be listening to a lot of left-leaning people and hearing their talking points and seeing like what they're trying to present and stuff like that, and then I'll go on a turning point, like I'll be on some Dennis Prager stuff and just like listening to these other guys, alternatives. Like, oh wow, okay, that But
that makes you a well-rounded, well-balanced person. I think that's important. I think people need to listen to the other side. Now me listening to the other side, I kind of got captured by the other side because I be over there a lot. But I think that's what people need to do. We need to hear both sides so we can make a informed decision. Because this is what happens. You listen to your side and you think those are the only good ideas in the world. And your side tells you that the other side only has bad ideas. Because when you hear clips from the other side, you're only hearing the bad clips. You're hearing the out of context clips. You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So listen to both sides. So like, I've been watching a lot of politics stuff. Like a lot. But I watch both sides. Like, I watched The Breakfast Club, so of course, I got some liberal in me somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because Charlamagne is left-leaning as it goes, you know what I mean? But then they had Vivek on there the other day, he's a Republican, so that's what I've been doing, a lot.
That makes sense.
A lot. And I listen to a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I listen to a lot of debates. Like, it's funny because the last stuff I listen to, they're super long form, so I'm like, should I send this?
No, you can send it to me.
Because it'd be like some 3-hour long debates and stuff like that. And I just have it in my ears.
You see that little baby right there?
Yeah,
around 3 a.m. to about 6 a.m. he don't sleep.
So he needs
something. I need something. Because I just be like this.
Man.
But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I got you. There's a lot of long form stuff to look at. But yeah, I would encourage everybody, like, just go out there and listen to these things because it's valuable. It can strengthen your points and your viewpoints on how you see politics or how you see the world. And then also it can make you see other perspectives that you're like, wait a minute, I never thought about this, never thought about that. Okay, this makes a lot more sense than I even thought, or I resonate with this even more than I thought I did.
You know what? I would also encourage people to do is when they hear something that a presidential campaign candidate says that they're going to do, I would Google if a president can actually do that. Because they're putting out some big promises, but then you find out that ain't up to them. They got to push that through Congress. Congress don't want to do that. If Congress wanted to do that, Congress would have already did it.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of these big promises out there. And some promises sound good to me. Like I like some of them. Like they want to increase the child tax credit. I'm like, I got 2 kids. Like, let's run that.
Trying to rack it up.
But they got to get Congress to approve that. So it doesn't matter how much, because both sides said they want to increase it. It don't matter if one side said they want to increase it to 4,000, the other side they want to do 5,000. It don't matter because Congress got to sign off on it. So yeah, that's another thing. Really, and that's why your congressperson is more important than the president many times when you vote.
But they're really truly banking on you not gaining this knowledge so they can throw the big promises out there and capture your vote off of that rather than the actual substantial work that they can do or what they can present. Because a lot of times they just have like the final sign off or they'll be able to present certain things based upon their team or whatever and not really actually put it into play. But if you know, like, hey, this person is actually working on behalf of my interests, then okay, I can rock with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's tough to find out with politicians because, you know,
it's hard. That's why I say just listen to both sides. You'll pick up stuff along the way.
Definitely.
I just started figuring out what powers does the president have because that's something what we need to know. Like, can your president actually do it? I was talking to somebody and they were like, "Yeah, I'm excited about VP Harris because she's gonna revoke Roe versus Wade," and I was like, a president can't do that. Like, no president. That's Supreme Court. So, you just gotta know what the president can do. You know, that's important.
Definitely.
But, okay, who have I been listening to a lot?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and say this.
It's okay. It's
coming out of the political closet. I've been listening to Charlie Kirk.
Okay.
Like crazy.
I do listen to a lot. I get on the stance of Charlie Kirk for sure.
But you know why I listen to him? Because he'll talk to anybody. Yeah. And that's why. Because I like what the other people have to say too. And I like sometimes when I agree with what the other person say, and then he explains to me why what I think might be done. Well, I never looked at it that way. You know? Exactly. Case in point, this wasn't Charlie Kirk. I listened to somebody who was talking about why the electoral college is good. Because I always been like, what do we have it for? Like, what's the point? Like, if the people want somebody else, go with somebody else. Yep. But it was saying like it's a way that each state's interests are valuable. He was like, because if the people in New York and California don't want guns, they can ban the whole country from having guns. But in the backwoods of Alabama, I might still want my guns. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Different states have different cultures, and the rules around their cultures should be different. I'm still not 100% for the electoral college, but at least I know why it's in place now. Exactly. I wasn't getting it. So.
Oh yeah, no. Getting that understanding because for the longest I had no idea what that signified or how it worked. Yeah. But now getting a good implementation of like, okay, this is how it works for us. Okay, I get it. So, but in turn, I mean, it is true to some degree. Like certain people's votes does matter more than others. It just.
And then also just like educating myself. Like this whole time I thought the United States was a democracy, and it's not. And I was like, how do you graduate high school thinking we're a democracy and we're not? We're a republic. And I'm like, so what does that mean? It means you have elected officials who vote. It's not by the people. It's by the elected officials. And I'm like, this whole time this is a democracy. No, it ain't. Yeah, it's not. It's not a democracy. Democracy is not in the Constitution
because
anywhere.
if it was a democracy, then what? Hillary Clinton would have won.
Hillary would have won. I think Al Gore would have won.
Yep.
Yeah. For some reason, Republicans keep losing the popular vote and winning the Electoral College. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. So one person I do listen to a lot, more recently, because I go back and forth with this, but Roland Martin, I like a lot of his
Roland Martin
and stuff like that. He kind of puts me into a different perspective. He's a real dog when it comes to stuff.
Yeah, I've been watching Roland Martin
for he's been around
years. Yeah.
But like more of his long form stuff, I've been kind of watching a little bit more. Of course, I watched a ton of Charlie Kirk. I watched a lot of Ben Shapiro type of stuff. I've been recently listening to more Dennis Prager stuff. Now Prager is a little bit more wild to me.
Yeah, he is.
But some of the points that he makes are pretty sound. And I've been listening to Destiny for like a long time.
Who's Destiny?
So Destiny, he's like a.
He's a guy.
Yeah, he's
sounds like a girl to me.
It sounds like a black woman. It's funny. It's actually like a meme. Like they talk about like Destiny is a black woman.
That's all I saw was a black woman.
But he's trust me, he's a wild left leaning guy, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I wouldn't say necessarily too wild, but he's more of a debater than anything, and he's like a gamer turned like political commentator.
Oh, send me some.
And yeah, some of his stuff is actually pretty informative, and I appreciate it. I disagree with him on a ton of stuff, but he's one of the few people that I disagree with on a lot of things, but I can still listen to him, and like I appreciate that he makes sound arguments.
Well, that's how I started listening to Ben Shapiro, because I didn't agree with him, but I like the fact that he can argue the way he.
Yeah, he's literally like left
Ben Shapiro. Okay.
Like in this case, he actually just recently had a debate with Ben Shapiro not too long ago. Wait, was it with Ben Shapiro or? Yeah, he did. He had a debate with Ben Shapiro like a couple months back. Earlier this year.
I'm gonna ask you this: have you been watching Judge Joe Brown?
No.
Listen, I gotta find something. I don't know if he's telling the truth or not, but it's the most craziest stories you have ever heard about anybody in politics. Like he goes, like the old people that ain't gonna hold back. Mm-hmm. That's Judge Joe Brown. Oh, yeah. He go in. Yeah, we can't play no snippets of what he be saying. You be like, this a judge? Like, this a judge?
He said, is he still doing? Is he still in that role?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to send you some Judge Joe Brown stuff right there. Definitely. He don't hold back at all. But I think that's good though that you're making yourself informed. I don't care if you vote left or right, but I do care if you make an informed decision. Yeah. And so I encourage everybody to get yourself informed.
Definitely. Yeah.
We're looking at our executive producer. We don't know what she's saying. I think she told us to wrap it up.
Sure. Well,
but she was giving us thumbs up.
I know, yeah.
We're good.
He was having a good time. And then Miles is back. Let's run it up again. Yeah. Come on, let's make it 2 podcasts.
Yeah, we can do another hour. Let's do it Joe Rogan style.
Joe Rogan moved to Texas and became a Republican because he was left leaning, bro.
Yeah. What were y'all talking about before?
He was
when I walked in here.
Talking about a few things.
Candace Owens.
Oh, okay.
I rock with Candace Owens a little bit too.
I do too.
You do?
Especially now. She's different now.
This is a different Candace Owens than 6 months ago. That's a fact.
She's different now, for sure. Yeah.
She had to tap back into her black side.
Yeah.
We're not gonna say. We're not gonna say too much about that.
Wait, I feel like I missed something, but okay.
So, where did you go? I know you went to go do something.
Okay, so I'm a part of a program that costs a pretty penny to be a part of, and they help with things regarding business.
Yeah, to get your money's worth.
Yeah, I'm just making sure I'm plugged in the way I need to be plugged in, that I'm getting everything I need to get, and that things are running smoothly. I do have an event coming up next month, and so one of the people that's a part of that is they're coming out here to help with that. So we're just talking about all kinds of stuff.
Nice.
Getting business
they solidified. Podcast. That's the real.
Now that's the
Here's
real
the thing.
point.
Here's the thing.
I need to see the views go up.
Here's the thing. Y'all ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
There are 2 podcasts that I'm gonna be going on.
Okay.
2 different podcasts.
We need to get you a 3 Good Guys podcast shirt.
We sure do, because
we need some merch.
Some merch.
Because it sounds like you're promoting you right now.
Listen.
Because he's like, I'm going on 2 podcasts.
Listen.
Me.
Yeah,
Listen.
like, that's what I'm for the rest of the Good Guys. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna support, obviously.
So here's the reason I said that is because it gives me the opportunity to speak about what we're doing here on those other platforms.
Yeah, and if they got extra equipment, just
some extra mics and stuff.
Swiping.
So yeah, I gotta. One of them's in Atlanta, so I gotta find my way down to Atlanta.
So one of the things Junior asked me is, what have I been watching lately? Not necessarily TV, but have you been, I've been on a Charlie Kirk.
You been watching Charlie Kirk
all day. Open mic though. That's all I care about. I just want to see people go back and forth.
Yep. I don't know what is it about like debate, because like I don't know. That's why I be tuning in to God Logic.
Shout out to him.
Listen, I have God Logic just playing.
Yeah, all day. I'm in the car. That's in the car.
But what is it about debate that just like makes like I would say more so for men, because I don't really hear it. I don't really see or hear a lot of women like in that space.
I don't know. I think it's kind of like our love for competition.
It's a sport.
Yeah, I think it's sport.
It's two people with the ideas. Okay, now prove it.
Yeah. So instead of physically dominating, it's a mental domination.
Yeah.
But I think it's sport that we enjoy.
It's definitely a sport. Yeah.
Because like I can listen to Charlie Kirk give his own dissertations about certain things, but like
don't care about none of that.
But when he's talking open mic to people and like it's just I don't know. It's a lot more entertaining. It's a lot more. I retain it more because I'm like, okay, talking points. Like, okay, this is good.
Yeah. So what have I been watching? Finished the show Warrior on Netflix.
He missed it. He missed the ass. He did.
But
our executive producer's laughing at you.
It's all right.
It's all good. But Warrior's a great show.
No
doubt.
I've been watching a lot of I just started back watching Ruslan recently. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know why, but Ruslan got some content.
You've always liked Ruslan.
I liked Ruslan when he was rapping too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Ruslan is cool.
I like Ruslan. He was solid. He wasn't one of my favorites, but he was solid.
I never seen a single Ruslan song. But I like him as a person.
Yeah, so I've been watching some of him. Of course, I be on God Logic.
Got to
watch God Logic. That stuff it's so funny to me. I told him last time I saw him, which was a couple weeks ago, I said the first time I saw him put that apron on that said Chef Logic, I was done.
Yeah, y'all know what Fresh and Fit is?
Yeah.
Y'all know they just did a Muslim versus Christianity debate?
I didn't watch it yet. And it's crazy
because Sam is on it. Sam's
really? Yeah. They're about to. Are they
Sam
debating?
Probably gonna cook.
Wait.
No.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say.
Yeah, no, Sam cooked. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, I watched it. It's like 3 hours.
I'm not gonna lie. I've definitely had my fair share of watching a ton of Fresh and Fit content whenever they were not demonetized on YouTube. Interesting group of dudes.
Very
rare. They're different.
Yeah, they're different.
They may be considered toxic masculinity.
Definitely considered toxic masculinity.
Yeah, but like would I equate them to like real masculine dudes? No. You know what I mean?
No. That's
like they got some qualities, right? I'm not going.
You
I'm
can
not
be
going to
toxic
disrespect
masculinity and not even be masculine. That's hilarious.
Because I mean, let's just be real. Kevin Samuels, like if you
not
talk to him,
masculine
like,
at all.
he a little sus to me.
No, but you're bringing up a good point.
But like he makes masculine points and like he lives by masculine. Like I get that, but like
come on, bro.
Peace, bro. Yeah. Rest in peace to
the Godfather. Man. He has some respect.
Trust me, one of the most entertaining dudes ever to come.
Listen,
he is one of the goats of the internet. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, he set everything up.
What was the clip that made him go viral? I remember like Shaven posted it or something.
When he said somebody looked like he said a girl was a fullback
or something.
Yeah, he said he come to the hole like Emmitt Smith or something like that.
I loved watching Kevin Samuels' content. I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved when he said "buy a dog, die alone."
Yeah.
I still say that to this day.
You can't make this
up.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
Oh, last week
gone too soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Last week I went on like a what's that man's name? Dr. Umar little binge real quick. The joke is hilarious, bro. When he was at a college and they was chanting at the college, "Black Queens Forever, Snow Bunnies Never," I was done. I ain't never heard nothing like that. That man's hilarious.
I just can't rock with him. Like, I like some stuff he say, some other stuff he say. But that's somebody I just cannot rock with at all. I just can't.
I don't believe in what he be talking. First of all, from a religious standpoint, because y'all know I take my Jesus serious. Mm-hmm. I have a big problem with
him and the ancestors.
Yeah, and with the way Christianity is portrayed. Oh, here's something I want to talk about. Mm-hmm. The way Christianity is portrayed is so annoying because there's people like, I saw a clip the other day. Kev on stage he was reacting to Kirk Franklin talking about how marriage was used or weaponized by Christianity, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, to attribute something to Christianity, it has to have its roots in the Christian doctrine. Mm-hmm. What weaponization has its roots in the Christian doctrine?
Wait, how you weaponize marriage?
Oh well, you know, a woman is just here to serve. It's just your only reason for existing is to give me children.
I think he was more so talking about the point in around people thinking marriage is the only option when it comes to,
a woman's value and things. That's what Kirk Franklin was talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
But he said, and his co-host partially agreed, and I appreciate the point that she brought up, was that the weaponization of marriage is not about Christianity. It predates Christianity.
Exactly.
But they agreed that Christianity is weaponizing certain things. Well, he did make a specific point. He said Western Christianity.
Yeah.
Which sounds a lot like something I'm not about to say right now. But I didn't know a safe way to say it, so I'm not going to say it.
I drove by a church the other day that had a flag in front of it. And that flag had a lot of colors, and it was not Joseph's jacket. So there's a lot of different types of
maybe they're trying to reclaim it.
But here's my problem with it.
So I just need to know what type of Christianity.
Exactly.
Here's my problem with it though. To attribute something to the faith, to the belief, because when you say Christianity, you're talking about what we believe, which is in Scripture. I need you to be able to back it up by Scripture. And not just pull a scripture out. That scripture has to make sense with the theology that you're applying it to. And that don't make sense. Mm-hmm. Husbands and wives are told to submit to each other. Mm-hmm. Equally in submission. That's not weaponization.
It's not.
That's not you are here to do for me. It's actually I'm here to do for you. Mm-hmm.
Love your wife as Christ loved the church. What does that mean? It's ultimate sacrifice.
Ultimate sacrifice.
Everything for this woman.
Everything. So, and here's another thing. There's so many people with a platform that are so willing to bring up Jesus or Christianity or Christian doctrine who don't have any clue of Christian history. So much stuff about the culture that we enjoy here in America comes straight out of Christian thought. Before the Christian thought, it did not work that way. Mm. Like women having value. When Jesus came, that was not how they did things.
Yeah, let me just.
Women have value after Jesus came because of how he did things.
Theological on you real quick. The first ones to testify of Jesus coming back from the grave was women.
Exactly.
Jesus' resurrection was proclaimed by women first. And I don't think that was a coincidence. And that shows how much value we have in women. Mm. The first people to say he has risen were women. And we believe their testimony. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And when it comes to Christianity, there's in the Bible, there's women judges. There's women prophets. Women run things. Like, there's no...
Your sons and daughters will prophesy.
Yeah, there's no putting down of women.
But it's not just that. That's something that I thought about based on the conversation, but it's so many things in culture, like the freedoms that we have, the love that we have, respect, forgive, all these kinds of thought processes are not normal. An eye for eye is what was normal. But...
Turn the other cheek?
Not normal. Mm-hmm. Bless those that hate you? Not normal. So many things that we enjoy here with American culture come straight out of biblical text. Mm-hmm. And before Jesus walked this earth, those things, those thought processes did not exist.
You know what I found out? The first public school? Jewish. in the Jewish community so they can learn how to read the Torah.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I'm truly not surprised.
Mm-hmm. So,
I'm sorry, that was a little tangent.
Yeah,
we were tangent. I was actually bringing up the clip because I wanted to make sure we took it in context as far as what Kirk was saying because I had to remember, like, okay, what? Because I know it was a clip here. Well, it's probably gonna. Let me see if I can play it real quick. Sorry if y'all can hear it.
Here it is.
Here it is.
32 years old, my sister gets out of prison, and I'm the only one trying to help her.
Oh, wait a minute. This might not even be the clip.
No, not the clip.
Because he was definitely talking to... Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is.
But I was talking about Kevin Stage's
response. Has been weaponized in Western Christianity. Sexuality has been weaponized. For example, any woman listening to this can attest in our culture. Don't be no 30, 35-year-old single black woman and go to the family reunion. All the older women are going to do nothing. They're going to look at you and wonder, why you not married? Where your man at? Where your kids at? Like,
what that got to do with Christianity?
That's exactly. So I get that point. That's why, because even when he starts,
has been weaponized in Western Christianity. Giving has been weaponized in Western Christianity. Sexuality has been weaponized. For example, any woman...
So that's where he needs to correct when it comes to... Because the point he immediately goes to is at a family reunion, and they look at it. Any 32-plus-year-old woman says, why ain't you married? What does that have to do with
black people?
What does that have to do with Christianity?
That's just people. You can talk. You can talk to women. I was talking to a lady earlier today, talking about how she needs to have kids within the next X amount of years because of how old she's getting. She ain't nothing but 30 years old. So that's not a Christian thing. That's your biological clock is ticking. And for I don't know how many thousands of years, we've known that there's a period of time where you should start having children. And if you haven't done it yet, it starts looking like what you've been doing the last 15 years.
And then also I want to address this: giving has been weaponized. It has, but only to the ignorant. Because if you read and learn for yourself, they can't weaponize these things against you. They can't. Okay, so we talk about it being weaponized now, like it hasn't always been weaponized. Like the Catholic Church didn't sell indulgences. That was it called. Where you can buy your way into heaven back in the day.
You pay for your forgiveness.
100 years ago, yeah, it's always been that way. But what happened when people started reading? They were like, no, that's not what the scripture says. So yeah, to the ignorant, it's weaponized. Sure, but after a certain age, if you're ignorant of these things, I don't feel bad.
There are some things, if you claim to be a Christian, that you should know.
You got to.
And those things are whatever's written in Scripture. Okay, it's not even hidden.
I'll kind of present it like this. So you're right. It to someone who's knowledgeable, it can't be weaponized. But then when people are coming into the knowledge of Christ, and they look at a church or a church body or church leaders for guidance, it absolutely can be weaponized.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It absolutely is weaponized. Yeah. And it doesn't matter how old they are. Like, if they're coming to knowledge of it, or if they've only had a basic understanding, or maybe they've just been in church and not really trying to get themselves involved. And then now they're, like, point being, I know we talked about this briefly in the last podcast episode, but the whole, the Dance with the Devil Netflix special thing. I don't know if you...
What's that?
Okay, did I talk to you guys about that? It was just me and my wife then. So sorry, I forgot. Yeah. We be in conversation all the time. So if you haven't watched it, watch on Netflix. It's a podcast called It's a documentary called Dancing with the Devil, and a lot of these popular like crumpers and like dancers, people who are on like big So You Think You Dance, stuff like that, how they got involved with a specific ministry and gentleman who was, who's proclaiming to be a pastor, and like basically got them and manipulated them in so many ways in regards to what they did as well as Christianity. And you just gotta watch it. They can explain it to you better. I haven't even finished the whole thing. I think I watched the first 2.5 episodes.
Sounds interesting.
But definitely watch it. It's like 3 episodes. It's not that long. Take a look at it. But that was definitely, in my opinion, weaponized Christianity. Now, of course, it isn't true Christianity, obviously, because if it's done, if it is true Christianity, a true follower of Christ, then of course Christ doesn't agree with what this person is doing. Yeah. But to the unknowledgeable, the people who don't come into knowledge, who are easily swayed, who are feared, factored into like, you're gonna go to hell if you don't do this and stuff like that, and they see this person who is successful, who has money, who's in high esteem, who whenever we are putting forth these dances, he switched it up to where, hey, do these songs and stuff like that, and the money's flowing through, so you're getting that that false sense of, oh, things are working out now because this leader or this person who was supposed to be in line with Christ is making these adjustments, and now it's working for me, so this got to be right.
Yeah.
But they're not going to the Word and truly seeing, like, he's pulling people away from their families. He has this whole thing that he was saying, like, die to your, like, he told one of the guys, like, die to your son. Like, basically, like, you know, how the Word tells you to, like, die to your flesh and stuff like that, or whatever. But we know what that truly means. But he's saying, like, excommunicate yourself from them fully until they come to the knowledge of Christ and know who God is. Then you can go back and reach out to them. So he was getting people to excommunicate themselves from their families, even though because their families aren't believers or what have you or whatever, and then leaning into being with him this whole time. Then it gets unveiled. He was doing even more sinister things at the end, which I didn't watch the full thing, but my wife can explain that. Okay. But yeah, you got to watch it. And that was completely weaponized Christianity, because there were people who had some semblance of belief already, but then they weren't really involved in the church and stuff like that, and then they meet this person who became super influential to them, and then they get guided down the wrong
And
path.
that's why ignorance is dangerous.
Exactly.
Yeah, my people perish for a lack of knowledge.
That's why ignorance is dangerous, because if not, then somebody's going to come along and find a way to manipulate you, to use you.
And it's not just going to be with religion. It's going to be with everything. It's going to be with your education system. It's going to be with the clothes you wear. It's going to be with the phone you choose to buy. It's going to be with the television that you watch. People are going to manipulate you in every way, shape, or form they can.
I don't understand why people use iPhones. You know what I'm saying? They get manipulated every single day. Yeah. You know, they should be Android users. But, you know, I digress.
But, I think that's why it's yeah, whatever. I didn't even follow that till the end. I was like, what is he talking about? Anyway, but I would say that's why it's super important. Another thing I was talking about with my wife was, it's super important to not just be in your children's life, but like be involved. Like actually be involved in the shaping of your child. Even more so. Like, it's not enough to just provide for them and to make sure that they eat and make sure they go have fun sometimes. Oh, you want to go to your friend's house? Sure. But, like, actually instill principle, have talks with your children about things that matter, like about their emotions, all that kind of stuff, because now you're tapping into a part where they cannot be just manipulated by anyone out here.
Now, I'm going to say something as a parent here. That sometimes is hard.
It is.
That sometimes is hard. I didn't know how hard that is until I became a parent. That is hard. You have to be intentional with that kind of stuff. Yeah. Tomorrow we're taking our daughter to get some frozen yogurt, and that's going to be some good, QT time and family time. Yeah, it's providing is easy. Yeah. Parenting is hard. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's huge.
I think I'll find that out one of these days.
Yeah, you're not gonna know before.
Everybody has an idea of it because you can look back on your past and now that you're older and see like where you felt like your parents maybe fell short in the area or done really well in the area, and you can kind of equate it to that because you have it from the standpoint of a child. But like you said, when we get to Leonard's level, we can see it in full circle now.
Like one thing I think about, like, oh, talk to your kids. Like, not just about anything. Like, you have a certain thing. Like, I want to tell my kids about, okay, but when? When do I talk to them about it? Do I approach it? Do I wait for them to find out about it? Is it too young? Do I wait for the next birthday? How do I bring it up? Do I use puppets? Or just come out and say it? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard. It really is. It really is hard.
I mean, that's why.
But that's why we got to keep telling people to do it. So
that's why, exactly. Do it. Yeah. That's why. I mean, and that's why we have, because even in times where like that can be like a coworker or a friend of mine or somebody who I know isn't a believer, and I really want to talk to them about more things, or I see they're struggling with something, and I'm like, God, give me the opportunity. Just I know the opportunity will present itself if I make sure I'm available, but like I don't want to force something upon anybody, but at the same time, I am concerned about this person, so I just made myself available, and that's really almost what you have to do. What I feel like you have to do with your kids is like you just got to make yourself available for when that opportunity comes, because it will in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
To just be ready to be like, this is a time where this is important. I need to instill this, or I need to, show them this. And I even say it for the simple, like, you're probably not always going to be the person that's going to be able to present or even solidify certain things in their lives emotionally that they need to understand or whatever. But if you at least get them to understand the process and how that's done with somebody who's over them, or whether it's a family member or mom or dad or whoever, and they understand like, okay, this is a serious conversation. Like, this is something where I need to express this or not express this or whatever. Like, get them prepared to be able to explain those things and to receive that doctrine. Then it prepares them, I think, And I only say that from the basis of how my upbringing was and how I equated to how when I was a kid. Like, of course, learning stuff more so now. It's just like, man, I kind of wish like that was done back then when I was younger. Yeah. Because that would have just saved a lot of, But there's some things that you sometimes have to learn from experience, unfortunately, because that's the tools that your parents had. And it's funny, my wife always says like, "Oh, I get nervous about kids because I don't want to mess them up." Like,
and you're going to mess them up.
Like, but that's the thing is like you got to accept the fact that you're going to do that. Yeah. Like you're not perfect, so you're going to mess them up. But the best thing to do is try to, whatever tools that you have, use those to get them in the best position possible. And I believe, giving them back to God is the first and foremost thing to do.
That's it. Yeah. Let God do it. Because He's going to be better at it than we can never do that.
Yeah. And it's the crazy thing is like, your children are going to have to go through things that's more important than you. Yeah. Dang. And that's the thing that sucks, because it's like, I don't want them to go through nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I want them to have the best life. But, like, it's bigger than me. Like, once they, they're in God's hands. If I truly give them to God, like...
Yeah. And you got to remember, a little controversy is good for them. Yeah. A little, overcome something. What's the saying? Good times make soft men make hard times make hard men make good times, So you just gotta be careful, because you don't want to make it too good for them. So, a TV show I've recently been watching, blame my wife, God would have never pressed play. I just want to preference that, is Empire. You watching Empire? Did you watch Empire?
I watched like the first 2 seasons. I ain't watching. I just kind of stopped after a certain time.
Okay, but he spoiled his kids
like crazy,
and that's the problem with all of them. All 3, they just spoiled. You're like, especially that youngest one, he get on my nerves every episode. I'm like, dude, everything you got is because of your daddy. Like, what's wrong with you? So we gotta be careful not to spoil them, because we want to give them so much, right? So yeah, make sure they learn to work for stuff too. My daughter, she's so helpful. She washed dishes today. Like, she was like, we were sitting here watching TV and the water. Like, why weren't you like washing dishes? I'm like, oh goodness, she washed dishes, because we haven't really taught her to wash dishes yet. So I went over there and grabbed a fork today, and I was like, all right, babe, be careful. Taylor did the dishes. She did her best. But at least she did some, yeah. And I think that's key, having them do things.
Yeah. Absolutely. Man.
I got one last question before we get out of here. Are you going to do your children the way Daddy did us? I mean, you going to have them like washing dishes and cleaning the kitchen and washing their clothes and ironing and stuff in the first grade?
Well, I mean, she about to start washing dishes for sure, because she tall enough. So yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Like, she wants to do all that stuff. Like, today she took the trash out. That's cool. And then she came back. She was like, "It's flies out here. It was trash." So I had to go with her. But like, yeah, I don't know. Taylor's different, man. She's helpful.
It definitely does depend on the child.
Yeah, because I wasn't trying to do nothing. Yeah, she way different.
We didn't have a choice. It didn't matter if you was trying to or
Yeah,
not.
it was a tribe of y'all at one point, so it's just like
that's
a lot of undertaking for just one person.
And then like another thing is like, I think she wants to help because it's her way to interact with us. When us, we had all the kids at the house. I don't want to do no work. I got these kids to play with. Like, what you gonna play with? You got nobody to play with. Might as well help y'all clean up. You know? I don't know. It's just way different for her.
Well, is that it, guys?
I think that's it. We had a good time.
Oh man, well I'm glad y'all had a good time without me. I had a good time.
I think that was the best part.
You know, you should dip off.
You're welcome.
That's kind of good, though.
You're welcome. I'll take a break next week. Don't worry about it. It's all good. But ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you for taking some time to hang out with us today. One thing is for sure, everybody needs good content. You know, I was listening to somebody that was saying that the brain doesn't know what is real. It just knows what you put in it, and it does its best to make it real. Okay? So you need good content, and I believe that these gentlemen here help to produce good content. So what I need you all to do, whoever sees this, is hit that like button, and then there's a subscribe button, a follow button, something like that. Be sure to hit that too, and keep the Three Good Guys podcast rocking and rolling. All right? Yeah. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. God loves you. We love you too.
Adios. Be obedient.
Adios, muchachos.